For sure, the Whitbread race, which became the Volvo, it really was my Everest. My whole career was based around trying to be a winning skipper of a Volvo boat.
Win, lose or draw, every person on every boat will have their story at some point during the race, and that is the fascination of the Volvo Ocean Race.
If you're having a bad leg, that bad leg can go on for day after day, maybe week after week, so that makes it particularly stressful.
God damn it. We didn't deserve this.
There are times where you just want to pick up a wind channel and throw it through the bottom of the boat, you know, and you just can't do it. You're cold, you're wet, you're freezing, you're hot, you're sleep deprived, and you're probably hungry for 9 months.
You get to go racing some really unique, cool parts of the world. So there's a lot on offer with this race.
Cometh the hour, cometh the man, or in this case, the men. It's departure day for the 6 teams competing in the Volvo Ocean Race as they bid farewell to their home port of Alicante in Spain and set their compasses for Cape Town. The last few days have seen a flurry of activity all around the Volvo Ocean Race village. For the crowds, one of the main attractions has been the Legends Regatta, featuring heroes from previous Whitbread round the world and Volvo Ocean races, reunited with their boats and crews to reminisce about their epic voyages. Final preparations are complete, each shore crew ensuring their boat is loaded with everything the teams need to keep them fed, watered, and most importantly, racing hard for the next 3 weeks. Their responsibility is now relinquished to the sailing teams to take their final steps on dry land for the foreseeable future in front of the huge crowd that has gathered on the dock. Amongst the spectators are the sailors' friends and family, trying to keep a brave face as they wave their loved ones goodbye. Leg 1, Alicante to Cape Town, 6,500 nautical miles, 20 days at sea. The first challenge is negotiating the unpredictable winds of the Mediterranean before breaking out through the Straits of Gibraltar into the Atlantic. Then the navigators need to make their first big call, hug the African coast and sail inside the Canary Islands or head offshore. The objective is to hook into the northeast trade winds, all the while trying to negotiate the dreaded doldrums. Once through, they're looking for the southeast trades, and after rounding the island of Fernando de Noronha, they dive south, hunting for the westerlies, which, if they're lucky, will see them blazing across the South Atlantic towards the Cape of Good Hope and into Cape Town, with its iconic Table Mountain backdrop. The waiting's over, the goodbyes have been said, the emotion is now bottled. The Volvo Ocean Race minutes away from getting underway, and the teams just can't wait. Time to settle the nerves and get on with it, I guess. With me in the commentary box, former world champion sailor and America's Cup tactician, Peter Lester. Pretty highly charged dock out, Peter.
Oh, wonderful. Heaps of emotion. And, you know, a great send-off for the teams. Now, the teams are out on the water. They're getting set for the start of the Volvo Ocean Race. And it's a fantastic atmosphere.
OK, our plan is to chat to as many of the skippers as we can. Ike Martinez on Telefonica is waiting, we hope, to talk with us. Ike, if you can hear us there, how big a moment was that for you? How was that send-off?
That's good. It's 10 minutes to go, and we really want to go now. So pretty exciting when we get out, and all the families and all the people telling us good luck and have a good trip. So we're very happy. Just focused to go.
OK, now, Ike, with this race in particular from your home port, what's it meant to you to be saying goodbye from a home port?
That's what we want now. We want to say goodbye, so thank you all the people who came here.
OK, that's Ike Martinez on Telefonica. On Abu Dhabi Ocean Racing, we've got the skipper, Ian Walker. Ian, we were looking at you heading out here earlier on. You looked a little bit apprehensive. Are you nervous or excited?
I think it's a little bit of both. I mean, a fantastic send-off. Everyone, I think, still pretty choked up. But this is what we're paid to do. We're here. We've spent the last 20 minutes trying to decide which of our 8 sails, which ones of our 8 sails we're going to use, and what's going to be quite a complex first hour to get out of here.
Now we know it's going to be pretty tough. What are you expecting?
Well, we just sailed the first leg of the course. It's very, very gusty, very, very shifty, and the wind angle is changing a lot. So I think sail selection is going to be critical, as is getting off the start clean.
Now looking at you a moment, you look like you're ready to get pretty wet.
Yeah, we're dressed up. These boats will be wet. We're in for a very wet night, but we're not going to get as wet as Zinedine Zidane, who's going to be jumping off our boat once we've done the preliminary circuits here.
OK, well, we wish you well, Ian Walker. Thanks very much. Take care out there, and good luck.
Thanks a lot.
OK, that was Ian Walker. This is the scene now, and we're hopefully going to go to Andy McLean on board camper with Emirates Team New Zealand. Are you picking us up there, Andy McLean?
Yeah, good, man.
Now, this is anxious times, obviously, for you. You're the co-navigator. What's lying ahead for you now today?
First, we're going to get through this triangle course. My other role is a pitman, so there's going to be plenty on in the next 45 minutes, I'd say.
OK, now you've got to go around the import race first. A little bit of a challenge there. That's going to be full on, and rather take your mind off what of the big ocean that lies ahead.
Yeah, that's right. It'd be nice to just be straight line out of here, but we've got a bit of racing to do first, so it should be pretty interesting. I think this leg's probably going to be about 4 minutes or something, so plenty of pressures in the manoeuvres, I think.
OK, we wish you well, Andy McLean, on board camper with Emirates Team New Zealand. You take care out there. OK, next I hope we're going to go and chat with Puma Ocean Racing, powered by Bergen skipper Ken Reid. Ken, ready for the fray?
Yeah, we're ready for a little bloodbath here around these triangles. It's not going to be easy.
Now, you say that it's long, it's cold, it's hot, it's no wind, it's too much wind, you're always wet, the food's horrible. Why are you going?
Yeah, that's a fair point. Don't remind me, would you please? That's a very good point. No, right now you want to tell me how sunny and beautiful it's going to be out here for the next 9 months.
OK, well, look, Kenny Reid, we wish you all the best on board Puma Ocean Racing, powered by Berg. Good luck, mate. Take care.
Thanks. Back to work. Thanks. See ya.
OK, well, this man standing on the back here, well, that's Laird Hamilton. Now, he's one of the most extraordinary human beings you'll ever meet. He's an ocean he's a surfer of the big oceans, but we'll come back to him later. First of all, let's see if we can get hold of Mike Sanderson on board Sanya. Mike, are you there?
Yeah, I am, man.
OK, well, you too, you look like you're ready to get a pretty solid dousing out there with that outfit on. What do you reckon you've got in store?
Yeah, it's going to be pretty wet and wild for this first 24 hours. And, you know, we've got 340 odd miles till we exit the Straits of Gibraltar. And so we, you know, we need to dig it in pretty hard until then. Really catch-22. You don't want to get dropped and be left behind. And but you don't want to break anything and do anything dumb. So it's quite a tricky time.
Well, indeed, Mike, it is a tricky time for you. We wish you well. Look after yourselves out there. We'll be following you all the way. Cheers, Mike Sanderson.
Thanks
on
very
Sanya.
much. See you soon. Thank you.
See you soon. Well, it'll be 3 weeks, and that's Sanya heading out. Well, I mean, what are they going to be thinking of out there, Peter? Because it's full on now. This is it. They're on their way.
You know, the first part of the race is actually to get off the line clean. Don't foul out. Don't get into trouble off the start line. And then they've got this very tricky little short track, which by the end of it, after about 45 minutes, they're going to be steaming hot. Then they get into ocean racing mode. So this first bit is going to be fantastic.
On board here now with Groupama, we couldn't quite squeeze a word in there with Frank Camas, the skipper of the French boat. And I think, well, I just wonder, I mean, it is settle the nerves, the boats are going to get going soon. They really want to get away, don't they?
I think they've wanted to get away from about midweek.
OK, inside 5 minutes to the start, and we're joined on the water by Jerry Kirby, Volvo veteran, a superman of sailing, and he's actually establishing a bit of a dynasty. His 22-year-old son Rome on board Puma here. Now, Jerry Kirby, you had to go and make your farewells. It's a bit of a role reversal for you, and you're normally the one getting on the boat. How did it go?
It was the first time I've ever come to a regatta without being involved, so It's great. You know, there's a time to pass the torch, and he's ready to go. He's with a great bunch of guys, and this is going to be a great start to a fantastic race.
Jerry, you were privy to the Puma briefing before they set off. Well, what was being said in that briefing?
Well, they did a weather debrief, and as you can see, it's actually nice for the pre-start laps. It's flat water and good breeze, but every mile they move away from shore, they're going to get into bigger breeze, and they'll do a slight right-hand turn in about 30 miles from the start. And then another 60 miles down the track, they do another right-hand turn, and they'll have it right on the nose, and they'll beat hard through the night. It'll be on the nose all the way to Gibraltar.
Oh, well, Peter Lester, that sounds like a beating in store. Just before we go, we're looking, I think, here at Rome Kirby. Jerry, coming back to you for a second. We're looking at your boy here on a winch in the back of the boat. What were your words of wisdom for him?
I just said stay connected and come home safe. That's all you can tell a Volvo guy. It's he's with a bunch of guys. It's just a fantastic experience. I think he knows enough about sailing. I can't give him any advice in that department.
Okay, well, we're now looking at the fleet just getting themselves sorted out, ready for the start of this race. And Peter, I mean, this is just a race within a race, and sail selection pretty crucial now.
Yeah, and we've already seen a few cards played. We can see there Camper have got a looks like about a 4, a heavy weather jib inside, but also they've got a masthead sail also on Camper, a masthead sail. Sanya's also got a masthead sail, so off the line it looks like they're going to show us put up some extras, and that will give them full power off the line. And Martin, the selection of those masthead sails, are only allowed 2 of them in the inventory. So I think, you know, early on in this race, we're going to actually see some cards played.
Okay, now Jerry Kirby out on the water. It's looking to us pretty gusty. And what were the tactics that were being explored by Puma, do you think, for this inshore race?
Well, they didn't talk specifically about tactics, but they did say they wanted to go conservative. Just get out of this area. Don't get caught up in the exclusion zones, which could lead to a penalty. Essentially, the feeling was, you know, you're not going to win this leg in the first 24 hours, but you don't want to do anything to lose it. And this start looks like it's a pin end favor, so it'll be a pretty hotly contested pin end start.
So I guess really a part of this is protecting your assets. They've got a long way to go, and it's not just a question of whizzing around the cans and then coming back in. They're going out for 3 weeks, so protecting the assets, Peter, pretty vital.
Oh yeah, well, you don't want to rip anything because that really is a big handicap. But already, Martin, we're seeing here that the boats are set up in different configurations. We're looking at Puma. They've got their big Janara on. They've also got a masthead sail up on the foil. That could be a code 0, or we might be going to a reaching sail, a code 5. Perhaps, Jerry, what are your thoughts looking up towards the Mark 1 and the angle? Certainly there's some different interpretations coming off the boats.
Yeah, Peter, you're spot on. It's interesting. There are some mastheads out here, and it looks like Sanya has a fractional reacher. It's just they've got it where it's just above the headstay, but it looks like everyone's going to use that. It's either an A3 or a 0 to go down that first run. I'm not sure if they'll use it on that first leg, but it looks like we'll know in a couple of minutes if they pull them out.
Okay, 30 seconds to the start, and we've just seen Groupama absolutely parked. That almost looked like there was contact there, but Groupama now struggling to get going. 24 to the start, and well, when they park up, they park up.
Well, they do, Martin. They lose grip. They go sideways. And now coming into 15 seconds to go. So the start of the Volvo Ocean Race, 10 seconds. We've got in that windward position. Telefonica have pulled the trigger. They're away. Emirates, the Camper have already gone for their A3. The gunner's gone. The start of the Volvo Ocean Race. The boats are reasonably bow to bow with Camper. Looks like they're in a very strong position with Telefonica to windward.
Well, look at Ken Reid. Ken Reid breathing hard. This is a tense moment for all these boats. Camper out on a flyer there. Camper with Emirates Team New Zealand. But this is on board now with Ken Reid. Ken Graham Reed with Puma Ocean Racing, powered by Berg, and he looks across at the opposition. Well, these boats are flying, Jerry.
Yeah, that was a spectacular start. As we talked about earlier, that pin end being a strong position, and Chris Nicholson just nailed the pin and got into the first pressure, and he's off. Puma had a nice spot too. So right now, Telefonica, if they get a good puff, they could get right back in and actually command the lead going into that first mark.
This is, as we were saying, a race within a race. And it's not just, I mean, we talked in the previous Inshore race a week ago. Hard to believe it's in the same stretch of water looking at these boats go.
Unbelievable, Martin. Look at that. They're pedal to the metal. They're off. We're on board Telefonica. They've gone for a fractional Jenica. And down to Leeward, Camper with a masthead with a head sail slotted into the inside. Look, you can see there a big clue board on board Telefonica to keep that area of the sail stable and connected. So, Jerry, they're heading up towards that first mark, and it's all on in the first couple of minutes of the Volvo Ocean Race.
Yeah, right now Telefonica has made some great gains. She's just on fire on the inside. She's getting the puffs first. She's got that fractional reacher on, so she's got everything sheeted on hard, and she is just it's a big difference in last week where we saw her struggling in the light air. She looks fantastic.
Well, we always knew these boats would light up in these conditions, and this is a fantastic sight for the people ashore. This fleet of 6 Ocean Greyhounds absolutely powering up this first leg, and they're going to go up and back and like a sausage in a triangle before they actually get to the race proper. So quite a lot of time, Peter, for things to develop here.
Yes, it is, and the first intersection is coming up very quickly at Mark 1. We've got Telefonica to windward, Camper down to leeward. Both those boats got off the line first. We've got Abu Dhabi down to leeward, but what they've got to do at that turning mark is roll up that the Jenica to go round the mark, and then either come back on leg 2 with a Jannar on. But Emirates Team New Zealand Camper bow forward. They're in a beautiful puff of breeze there now. We can see the bow just lapping out of the water. But Jerry, it's quite puffy as they get up towards the top mark.
Yeah, Peter, very similar to that light air day with the puffs coming from the shore. And Camper just had a great puff, and they came out in a lane of pressure. Got a good probably 5 boat lengths ahead of Telefonica, and now Telefonica is just starting to hook into a puff too.
Now, Jerry, just talk us through the manoeuvre at the top mark, because it's coming at you pretty quick.
Yeah, to get around this top mark, you've got to furl your masthead roller furled sail and tack around and then deploy it on the tack. They're going to go straight back where they came with a similar angle. And right now, Camper is just smoking.
Well, so's Telefonica. They're just both creaming up towards this first mark of the Volvo Inshore race.
Now, Martin, just watch and enjoy this. You're going to see some action, and these crews, remember, were short-handed as Camper go into the manoeuvre. That sail will be rolled up, and Chris Nicholson just holds his course. We can see there they've got a Jannar underneath the Jenica for the manoeuvre. So they're in the retrieval as they head towards Mark 1.
The engine room, the grinders powering away on board Camper with Emirates Team New Zealand. We're looking at the graphics now from Virtual Eye, and there is that top mark, and Chris Nicholson brings the big red boat around, and what is going to be the call now? What will be going on now?
Well, they got to check the angle for the course back down towards the start. But we look at the different course angles. Camper got their Jenica off first, and so they're going to be first round Mark 1. Telefonica also did a good retrieval. They're going to be second. We'll just listen for Chris Nicholson.
So at Mark 1, and Emirates Team New Zealand on board this big red Camper boat. They're first around, and they're on the run now.
So it'll be a reach down towards the start lines again. Might be a little bit tighter this time. We're not seeing the the sails being unfoiled, so the angle is a little bit further forward, which means the sail selection.
Oh, you can see the effort that's going into this from, as we were saying, they are short-handed on these boats, understaffed really. I mean, normally on a boat like this, racing around the cans, you might have a crew of 20, not just the 10 that are actually doing all the work here, as we watch Sanya coming around and alongside Groupama on their outside.
There's a bit of an issue here on Puma. What happened on Puma there? It looks like they've recovered, but something went on Puma.
Well, it looked like maybe, I don't know, Jerry, could you see that? It almost looked like they couldn't get the roller in properly.
Yeah, they may have a problem with their roller furling sail. I can see cloth flapping, and that's it'll be tough to deploy.
But
up there head to wind, there's something, I don't know what's going on right now. Maybe they're having trouble getting the jib on lock.
Yeah, it's well, you can see that the Genoa is the big headsail is now coming down. It looks like they're getting it sorted out, but it didn't quite come clean enough for them, Peter.
Well, again, only very short-handed, these boats, and it looked like Puma just had a small problem there. Long way to go. It's
still holding in third place though, Kenny Reid. Chris Nicholson on camper with Emirates Team New Zealand leads the way, followed by Team Telefonica with Ike Martinez, who we were talking to before, and I guess he's probably been under more pressure than most in this being his home port, this being the home boat.
Martin, let's just go back and have a look. You can see Telefonica has actually got a bigger jadar on for the reach back down to the bottom. Their jadar is tacked right on just behind the bowsprit. We look across at Camper and we can see their one is just down the foredeck a little bit more. So Camper have gone for a smaller sail on Camper. So Jerry, it's still pretty puffy, but different configuration on the two leading boats.
Yeah, it's interesting. It looks like Camper went with a smaller jib for handling purposes, and it's fine in the puffs. It seems to be working right now for Camper. In the lulls, Telefonica is stronger with that bigger jib, but looking behind, the general thinking is larger jibs.
Now, Jerry, can I just jump in? It looked like Groupama had a problem. Now, Groupama, did they have an infringement just after Mark 1? It looks to me as though they've done a penalty turn.
Yeah, they may have had a foul in there, but they're doing their turns. It's too expensive to quite get in a protest situation, but he's doing his turns right now for a foul at the mark. I think it was giving room to Ian Walker.
So already plenty of action with Camper leading Telefonica.
Nothing between them really. 30 metres is nothing. I wonder if that's a bit of a catch-up there by Telefonica. It is a bit of a catch-up. That the bigger Genoa doing it for Telefonica.
Well, they've got a bit more horsepower, Martin, on this second leg. This Robert Salthouse.
Well, they're working hard, and they're inside those sort of rubber waterproof suits. It's going to be like a sauna inside one of those, and then they're going to be heading out, and it's not going to be anything like such hot work for a while in a minute. But in the meantime, they're still on board camper with Emirates Team New Zealand, hanging on.
It looks like they're a bit headed, Martin. Looks like they're almost on the wind, heading back down towards the start-finish, and we can see now Camper going back to a reaching sail, all rolled up. But Jerry, has the wind shifted a wee bit? These boats look pretty hard on, heading back down towards the bottom.
They're almost beating. There's been a shift, Peter, so they're just about hard on the wind coming back to this next mark. And it looks like Puma has dropped their roller furling sail. They had a bad furl, it looks like. And it'll be interesting to see how they come out of this next mark rounding.
Yeah, we can have a look at Puma, and we could see the foredeck working overtime. See Camper having to do a little bit of a roundup there, but on board Puma, they've got plenty happening on the foredeck. Let's have a wee bit of a look. So Jerry, we're just on board Puma, and as you picked up, they did have a problem.
Yeah, so you could see the other crews sitting on the rail, just going along nicely, headed to the next mark. And as soon as you have a problem with roller furling headsail, it's all hands. So they've got to make a choice of what sail to deploy on this next leg. And with this wind shift, it may be a wider angle, so it's possible to see a kite. It'll be interesting. What do you see on deck?
Well, right now, I certainly see the sail that came down. I would think they'll probably try and hoist that one again. It's just a matter of whether it's deployed enough to get a safe hoist.
Right.
Carol Wislang on the bow of Camper with Emirates Team New Zealand, and heading up, not far to go now to the mark, and then they'll be coming back up again.
Well, they come around the mark, Martin, and then they head out on a bit of a triangular course, so it'll be a bit of a deeper angle. We look at Telefonica and we can see the canting keel, which will be rotated out to the right to give the boat more righting moment. That's a great shot of the keel.
Camper's just starting to rehoist their roller furling spinnaker now. They look nice and clean.
So, Jerry, they've gone with the same one. That's the same sail as what Camper used on the first leg.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, Peter.
Coming into Mark 2 of the Volvo Ocean Race. This is the little grandstanding element, if you like. It's the inshore race within a race, and we saw thousands of people down on the dock for the farewells. They'll now be lining the shore as we watch that grind in the and everybody, all hands to the pumps there.
They've already got a sweat on in there. See Robert Soldhouse, he's out of Minoprio. They're working hard.
Yeah, everybody on the winches, including the Spaniard. He'll be leaving his home port. That's Chuni Bermudez right at the back of the boat.
Camper approaching Mark 2. The boats will come round and then they'll head off to a marker more to the right-hand side.
Okay, in comes Camper now. There's the buoy on the DHL buoy on the right-hand side. This is going to, they'll get the call, deploy. Out will come that big roller, and there
it's going to be a jibe first. This is a jibe first. So angle-wise, the making board is.
There it goes, like a barber's pole, unravelling there. Out comes the red and white, that big giant sail on board Camper. Telefonica coming in, and then how are we going to go on board Puma? Now, what's going to be the story here? It looks okay.
Now, they've got a different sail on the foredeck. Maybe, Jerry, can you see what they've got on the foredeck now?
Yeah, they've shifted. The sail they have hoisted is their masthead. It's either an A3 or a 0. So they've recovered nicely from that on that little transition they went through. They should be fine on this leg.
That's looking clean. That's a clean hoist. Away it comes. So tell us a little, Peter, when we're talking about code 0, what does that mean?
Well, code 0, you're only very limited sail inventory. They're only allowed 2 masthead sails.
So that's the sail that goes right to the top of the mast.
From the end of the bowsprit to the top of the mast. So there's 2, and the code 0 is the one that actually, in essence, sails a tighter angle. And then they'll go for a sail that can sail a deeper angle, which will be, as Jerry's been talking about, a code 3 or even a code 5.
Code 0 being the biggest.
Yeah, code 0 is the biggest, Martin, and code 3 is a large sail, but it helps you sail a deeper angle. And that's what.
Bit quiet up there, Jerry, at that mark now.
It's looking a bit untidy there on, this looks like there's a problem on Abu Dhabi Ocean Racing. It's not working right. They can't unfurl. Here it goes.
Yeah, the fort looks like the furler just
might have had
a rope jammed on the furling device.
And Justin Slattery climbing out of onto the bow to get that released. As we see Groupama bringing up the rear of the fleet, having had to take a penalty for an infringement on the previous leg. Well, that'll be a bit of a disappointment, a bit of a kick in the teeth for them, Jerry, because that's not what you want to be happening in right at the very start of a race, being on the back foot.
Yeah, that's. I would say that they understand in about 6 hours, when they all take a right-hand turn and head into the head-on seas, if this is the separation in the fleet, it won't be a big worry. Essentially, in the big picture, headed to Cape Town, they're all tied right now. The goal is to just get out of town without breaking anything.
But it certainly makes for exciting stuff for us watching. I've done the windward leeward, now we're on the triangle.
Now, what we've been wondering is, this is the first time we've seen this fleet really racing like this in a bit of a blow. Chris Nicholson, we're looking at the wheel of Camper with Emirates Team New Zealand. That's Stu Bannatyne as co-skipper on his left-hand side. Are we seeing any secrets yet? Is there anything that we haven't seen? Is this race telling us anything yet? Peter, you first.
Well, I haven't seen this sail that Camper have got on before, and we can see it set up the lump is on a roller, so it's not a free-flying sail. And it has the ability there in that bottom corner. We can see a piece of material flapping around, so if they sail a deeper angle, they can put the spinnaker or the Jenica sheet on the lower attachment, gives them a wee bit a wider range to use that sail.
Okay, Jerry Kirby out on the water. You seen anything that you haven't seen? Anything different?
Well, you know, Peter hit on a really important point. You know, the look of Camper's forward sail, it obviously has 2 trimming points, and they're the only boat in the fleet with an adjustable headstay, which means they can change the rake. So I would imagine they've designed all their sail plan around the ability to change the rake, which gives the boat an ability to power up in the light air, or drop it back and depower in heavy air, or set it up for reaching. So, Peter, that was a good catch.
Yeah, and it is. And what I'm trying to look for here, Jerry, is, if we're lucky, maybe we might pick it up, is what code is actually written on the sail. I think there might be something in the trailing edge, but I'm not sure what they've called the sail, but certainly it appears to be a sail with quite a nice range. Okay,
well, it's nicely on view there. It's now going to be rolled up and put away as they come round onto a tack rather, and well, where's the competition now? I mean, they've stretched out a fair bit, but yeah. Telefonica are looking...
Well, Telefonica are a bit underpowered. They've come down here with a sail that is not going to the top of the mast, so that's their... every boat has to have a fractional rig sail, so that has meant that Camper have extended a little bit, and Puma have actually come at Telefonicas, because Puma are actually flying a masthead sail. So,
isn't it amazing that what's it telling us about these boats, that just that much, the difference between them can be so crucial?
Well, it is, and it's this limited sail inventory. They've only got 8 sails on board, 3 downwind sails. So we can look at the difference there. You've got Puma with the masthead sail, Telefonica with their fractional, or it doesn't go to the top of the mast. And we can see that the sail area of Telefonica is quite a lot smaller than Puma.
And that little bit extra on board Puma is paying dividends for them, because they are cutting in somewhat into the lead of Telefonica. But on the other hand, look at this amazing shot of our lead boat here. This red machine is flying.
Camper with Emirates Team New Zealand have jibed. They're heading now out towards Mark 3, which is it's meant the boats have had to jibe. The New Zealanders will go out here. They will then jibe and come round the mark, making a left-hand turn. Beautiful shots from our team up in the helicopter.
That boat is motoring. There's the race course, that yellow circle on the right that we've just lost there. That's the next mark, and big angles of divergence here, Peter.
Yeah, there are big angles, because they sail the optimum angle off the velocity prediction program that are giving to them. So they don't actually sail downwind, Martin, they reach. But that is the quickest way to a set point with those reaching legs. But Jerry, we're seeing different configuration. We're looking at Telefonica. They look a bit underpowered to me, Jerry.
Yeah, you're right, Peter. Puma took a bite out of them, but if you look at Mike Sanderson right now on Senya, he's got his A4 up, and he's been able to sail deeper, and he's got himself back into this little import section of the start to flag 1.
Just see Iker Martinez sprinting from wheel to wheel. He's a picture of concentration there. Pounced on that wheel like a cat as they go through their manoeuvre.
Bit of a problem here, Martin, on Telefonica. They jive. The spinnaker sheet actually got caught on top of the board, and that meant that they couldn't sheet it on. Now we can see the grinders working overtime in the middle of the boat to get that spinnaker sheeted back on. So not the tidiest jibe for Telefonica, but remember, these boats are undercrewed. It'd be good to actually, Jerry, just looking at the boats, from memory looking back, Sanya actually have a flying luff sail. It's not on a roller, so they've got a different sail configuration.
Yeah, they've sort of moved themselves into second place right now. Telefonica, that cost them a lot. You had that on TV. That sheet, they're just getting sheeted in now, and they missed the ability to stay in that puff. So Puma and Senya are sort of 2 and 3 right now, and Abu Dhabi's out on the right-hand side of the course trying to catch a puff and come back in.
And we're looking at the speeds there. This is phenomenal stuff. This is 18.6 and upwards for... And look at this, look at Puma now charging down at 20 plus. Well, they picked up a nice gust there. Look at the white caps. There's plenty of breeze there. We're on board with Camper.
Camper coming into Mark 3. They've already rolled the Jenica up, so they're set for the upwind leg.
I think we might be trying to speak to somebody on Camper. Not at the moment, no, we're holding back on that. That's fair.
Got us fast and furious, Martin.
Okay, that's Daryl Wislang and Mike Paminter up in the bow on board Camper with Edwards Team New Zealand. Just on the right there, they've got a problem.
No, well, what happened, they didn't get the flying sail down, so Nicholson has had to go bow down so the sail can be retrieved. Just a slight alter course. And now they head back towards Mark 3.
Iberdrola boy as Camper come round. They're getting a soaking up on that deck already. This is brisk sailing. What a handful that is for just a couple of men to handle.
It is hard work. I mean, getting drowned at the beginning of an ocean race is probably not ideal. The guys on the foredeck, as Jerry knows, it's tough, hard work out there, Jerry, for the crews.
These guys will be in a full lather. By the time they settle in, this is a hard way to start a long leg.
I reckon.
Well, look at this. We've not really seen sights like this so far. That thing is surfing, absolutely shooting past the mark there as they get ready and for the final leg of this little onshore burst.
Yeah, we got a critical situation coming up with Telefonica, Puma, and Senya all trying to get their big gear in and get around this mark.
What a mark. Whoa. There's Puma smoking into Mark 3.
Absolutely smoking.
Who's going to get here? I think these boats have come at Telefonica. It'll be interesting to look. But Puma, again, have had trouble getting that downwind sail deployed. Retrieving that downwind sail. You can see just pulling on the roller.
Casey
it's not
Smith
rolling away.
it up on the bow. Whoa.
This is tough work.
This is tough work. Are you missing it, Jerry?
You know, right here's a good spot.
Okay, this is a little untidy now on Puma. Just trying to get it sorted again. This being short-handed, all hands to the pumps at the back. Kelvin Harrop on the winch in front of us there. Here comes Telefonica.
So Telefonica got passed by Puma on the downwind, but who's done the tidier manoeuvre around the mark? It looked to me as though Puma had a little bit of a few issues with getting the Jenica foiled away or rolled up. Telefonica have come round reasonably tidy.
Yeah, there's been a real issue. It looks like Mike Sanderson is struggling to get control of his kite, as did Abu Dhabi.
Okay, we're looking at Abu Dhabi at the moment, but I think we'll probably find we'll just listen in. does look like they've got a bit of an issue on...
Looks like Sanya had a bit of a problem.
Yeah, but we're with Abu Dhabi Ocean Racing at the moment.
Yeah, Abu
Justin
Dhabi
Slattery up on the bow.
I think Abu Dhabi are in good shape here. They, the foredeck looks reasonably tidy.
That is Justin Slattery, the Irishman, getting
everything is so heavy, Martin, and it's wet.
And it's wet, and that's another
already.
30%.
We've only been going, what, half an hour, soaking wet.
Well, and what we're not seeing at the moment is the fact that later, when they get going, all these sails will be stacked up on the deck, and that's more work for these guys. In fact, there's no respite on board these Volvo Ocean boats, these Volvo Ocean Race boats, the Open 70s. There's just no... There you can hear the call from Ian Walker.
On board with Ian Walker attacking now. I think Abu Dhabi have come around in pretty good shape in terms of setup. Just go back out to Jerry. Jerry, it looked like I was looking at Telefonica. It looked like they had a few difficulties post the mark.
Yes, essentially Telefonica came around and struggled to get their spinnaker down, and then they had another problem tacking, but they've straightened themselves out. The breeze has really increased, so I think that sort of caught everyone out at the bottom. Team Senya is still trying to get their gear down and head to around that mark, but Puma's off clean, Camper's clean, and Telefonica, the top four boats are all clean now, and actually Groupama looks okay coming around.
We're just with Groupama coming around Mark 3.
Frank Camas at the helm. What a record he's got. Working 73 races he sailed with Groupama, 59 podiums, 33 wins, and this is normally he's a multi-hull man, but he seems to be just doing very, very nicely on the one hull with this big Volvo Groupama. Okay, we think there was we were saying an issue of some kind on Team Sanya. They were doing rather well, and then clearly something went amiss. And,
they come thundering down leg 2, and it looked like they overshot the mark. They couldn't get the gear off, couldn't get their Jenica down. They overshot that Mark 3. Looks like we're on board now with Sanya.
Well, I guess that they're the most recently formed team, and we're looking there at, that's Tiger there, Teng Jiang He, trimming and grinding. He's the Chinese sailor on board. He was from northern China, actually has a construction company, keen sailor, but this is absolutely new territory for him. And this is the newest formed team of these guys, and clearly they had a problem and were unable to lose the sail and just carried on past the mark, so now they've got to play catch-up. And Jerry was making the point that this is very early days yet, that you know, once they've done this little sprint, then they're into that marathon that we were talking about, Jerry.
Yeah, Team Sanya was the only one to go with a non-roller furling sail, and as that breeze built out towards the bottom mark, they just couldn't get that spinnaker down. So they're recovering nicely, and they'll be back into it. It's still nice to lead your way out, and right now Camper's in a great spot, as is Puma, Telefonica, Abu Dhabi. They'll be, 6 hours from now into some big heavy seas and heavy air on the wind. That's where we'll start to see things sort out.
Jerry, what I'm finding interesting is the different, certainly in terms of the 3 downwind sails, 2 masthead and 1 fractional. It looks like the Camper team have gone with all their sails on rollers, and the only one that I'm seeing with a free flying sail in the luff was actually Sanya. Different philosophy there?
Yeah, I think in this situation, everyone that chose a roller furling spinnaker was just about getting away clean. It's a nice, easy sail to put away when you're short-handed, and I think everyone just wants to get out without having a problem.
We're looking at Groupama. All these boats are just absolutely hooting along, and I think they're probably taking a few deep breaths now, because They've got a little bit of a breather there. I think we're going to go on board camper.
It's going all right. We've had the big sails up down one and the small
Peter and
sails up
Martin,
upwards,
one thing you have to
it's sort of paid
remember.
off. Just got a tank coming up here in about 20 seconds. So. Got a tank coming up here, boys.
Okay, so that's Andy McLean giving us the lowdown there. He's a co-navigator and pitman on board camper with Emirates Team New Zealand, and they're nearly at this mark, and then they're off again as Chris Nicholson just swings one wheel and walks across from the port wheel to the starboard wheel. You see the dagger board slide into the sea, the fern leaf on top of it, and they're off again now. And that is camper. That's Stu Bannatyne on the right-hand side, the co-skipper on board. Co-skipper to Chris Nicholson, hugely experienced man, multiple winner of this round the world race.
But Martin, they're already cooking, you know, a lot of them. Look at the expression, they're hot, it's hard physical work, Tony Ray. So now camper around Mark 3, they come down through the start finishing line to another mark that's been laid, a little gate mark, and that'll bring the course very close to the marina, and it'll be a great vantage point for the fans. But now the teams will actually start to get into ocean racing mode. There are no more corners, and we will I'm sure see sail changes, and already camper is setting up to put on probably a bigger Genoa, and they will now settle down into the work, compose themselves. Camper have got a pretty handy lead, and this inshore section has certainly been action-packed.
Okay, here's the great Mar Mostro, they call this boat. That's the monster there, but you can see Berg propulsion, the propeller at the end of that tentacle. Fantastic paint job. I mean, it's just, they are amazing boats to look at. Been a bit of an issue there, hasn't it, Peter? We talked about that. The paint on, some of these sails. You're talking about 50 litres, which is 50 kilos. It's a lot of weight.
It can be up to 50, and I understand that. I don't think necessarily it's 50 now, but at the beginning of the project, and teams have worked hard on reducing the weight of the coloured sails.
Well, the razzle-dazzle of camper, that diamondy, jagged formation.
Let's look on the foredecks. There's changes coming on both boats, on board camper and on board Puma, as they now set up for the sail, the optimum sail they want for the angle, to take them down through the gate, and then they'll carry on down towards Gibraltar.
Puma looking good now, up in second place, Kenny Reid. And I mean, just there's that litany of things to dislike about the race, but what a buzz this must be to be sailing these fantastic racing machines. Great scene here in Alicante, the home port of the Volvo Ocean Race. We'll be back here for the next edition too, the next start, as we see the home boat, Telefonica. Team Telefonica with Ike Martinez, the Olympic gold medalist. He's on fire in front of his home port, in front of his home crowd. And it would have been a very emotional departure for him, I'm sure. But they're into race mode now. And as we say, this will be, a sort of sense of relief to get away as we see camper leading the fleet out on board with Abu Dhabi now.
Be interesting to see what sails the teams go to on this leg. Camper were setting up something on the foredeck. It might be their code 0. Maybe we'll go back out to Jerry. What can you see? There's a lot of action on the foredecks of all the boats as they come around that mark.
Yeah, I can't tell what sail they're putting on, but my guess, based on the angle, might be the fractional reacher. And what'll be interesting, as soon as they get around that mark, they've got to start shifting that 3+ tons of sails and equipment and food to the weather rail. So they will be going into the offshore stack, pack, and grind mode.
So Jerry, just talk us through that in terms of these boats. They are actually allowed to move the equipment. Just run us through what that process is.
Yeah, well, once you get essentially on here, it'll be starboard tack, so you want all that weight on the starboard rail. It starts out by getting all your sails up on deck and into a bundle and strapped to the starboard rail. And then while that's happening, several crew members will start to stack.
Sorry, Jerry. Just sorry to interrupt. We've just seen the leap off the back of Puma, and that was Laird Hamilton doing his jump. Sorry to interrupt there. It was just a bit of a shock. We've just seen Laird Hamilton, the surfer. Well, he's a man who can, on Puma, who can walk on water, and well, that was quite something. And we've got another. We've got the Volvo. Here she goes. This is the voice you've been hearing, and she's about to do her jump. She's the voice you've been hearing in the dock, who's been calling all the MC. Well, she's the master of ceremonies. And whoa, there's a protest flag flying on the back of that boat, that little red flag. So I wonder what that's about. But this is Hannah about to do the jump, and I can tell you from personal experience, this is quite an interesting exercise. There's a chase boat behind waiting to pick her up. She looks a little bit nervous. She's right to be, because here she goes. Whoa, a lovely dive. How many out of 10 for that one? That's a beauty. That's going to be interesting to see those pictures that she's taking of herself. That's fantastic. Away she goes. Very sensible in the wetsuit there. There's the boat to pick her up nice and safely, but that was a bit of bottle. There's Will Oxley, the navigator on camper, we're with now. Well, that was something. And that was... well, pretty elegant little swan dive.
It's a great, and remember there have been guests on board, but the only way they can get off, Martin, is to take the voluntary swim.
Do the jump.
But what interests me now in terms of what happens next, the boats now are coming back down to that start-finish area, or the starting area of the race. Then they come through a gate. Then there'll be a course change, and they'll sail a deeper angle. We're going to see, again, deployment of different sails, and we've already seen Camper have set something up, and Puma behind. I'm sure they had two flying sails also on the foredeck. So just see what happens.
Going on board Abu Dhabi now. Here we go on board Abu Dhabi, and what we're hearing on board there. Well, looking at a lot of people taking some deep breaths, trying to get some air into their lungs after that little burst around the buoys. And Ian Walker there at the helm. Okay, still with on board Abu Dhabi now, and we're going to be getting into the real meat of this race before too long. Telefonica smoking around the bay here in Alicante. Now, at some stage, we're going to be seeing Zinedine Zidane, one of the great footballers of all time. He's on board. He's on board Abu Dhabi, and we think we're going to see him doing his jump in due course. But at the moment, we're on the bow of Telefonica. That'll be Zane Gills doing the work. Here's Camper now. This is the real start, if you like, for them, and they're lining up where they want to be, getting themselves sorted out, and this is the start.
Yeah, this is really the start. Things settle down. We can see Camper have set up as they come round. They come through like a gate here. I'm just waiting to see the yellow marker. We'll see a yellow mark appear on the right-hand side. Once they come around that mark, they'll just bear off a little bit, sail a deeper angle, and then we'll see what sail they put up. Camper, they were first off the line, Martin, and as we expected, if you win the start, you're probably going to win this first phase of the first leg of the Volvo Ocean Race.
Well, it's
an awful way to go yet.
It's a mere 6,500 miles.
Now, Martin, there's the mark I was talking about. So they come around that yellow mark. We can see Chris Nicholson brings the bow down, and they'll just check the angle. They will not be in a massive hurry to deploy.
Well, something like 2.5 minutes lead there around and into the race proper for Emirates, Team New Zealand and the camper campaign. great sight. Now I think we're going to get a jumper, another jumper if you like.
Sounds a bit ominous, doesn't it?
Does. You know, we're on Abu Dhabi, and at the back behind Ian Walker is having a little joke there, is the great Zinedine Zidane, the 39-year-old midfielder, one of the greatest soccer players of all time. Now he's just at the back. I think Peter's having a look. Looks like there's a chase boat there ready to pick him up. He's there. He's grinning at the moment. He's got the full oilies in the life jacket. I presume they're not football boots. He's got on some nice sailing shoes on the back. There he is, right on the corner. And I think, well, we're wondering when he's going to do the jump. And there is right at the back. He has. You can't quite see that, but he does have a jacket on. I think that says Zidane, properly named. Well, he was before, but that may be on his bottom jacket there. But that's our man. If he's going to be doing the big jump, I must admit it's a pretty scary thing.
Well, Martin, your experience, of course.
I did it off Pirates of the Caribbean in Wellington, and. Here we go. Here's Camper flying out. Well, this is really nice for them. Let's have a word.
I can only just hear you. Hi.
You hear, man?
Okay, Stu, can you hear us now? Great start, mate.
Yeah, thanks for that. It was a bit of a frenzy, but we just tried to keep it simple, and so far that plan's worked.
Do you think you've learned anything in that opening gambit there?
I think we've just learned that our plan of keeping everything simple, sticking to just 2 sails, has worked out nicely for us.
Okay, what's the plan now? I mean, it's settle down time now, is it?
Oh, no, we've got a long way before we can settle down. We've got to fully stack the boat. We've got another couple of sail changes to get through, and we can probably think about settling down tomorrow or the next day. It's going to be pretty busy the next 36 hours.
Okay, how are you coping? We were saying you must all be in a bit of a lather after that, wearing all that waterproof stuff.
Oh yeah, certainly are, and it's not over yet.
Okay, well listen, Stu, congratulations on a top start. That's all you could have wished for in that regard. We wish you well for the rest of it. Take care out there.
All right, thanks very much. Get back to work now.
Good man. Cheers, Stan. Stu, thank you. Stu Bannatyne. Okay, back over to Abu Dhabi. Have we got an unusual manoeuvre? Here he goes. This is our man. Whoa! Well, a slightly different sort of technique then from Zinedine Zidane. Well, you know, there's no question that there's always firsts in life for everybody. Now, okay, Pete, a very quick wrap from you. What do you think of the way that's all gone?
Well, fabulous farewell to the fleet, shore base. The boats got out on the water. We saw this very tricky little inshore race, really, and now they're into the second phase on the first leg of the Volvo Ocean Race. And already, Martin, I think we've seen some intriguing aspects to the boats.
Okay, our TV broadcast is drawing to a close, but we will continue to bring the action on the internet via VolvoOceanRace.com, so you can retune then once we've popped off the air here. That's as long as the yachts are in range of our cameras, so we'll stay with you as long as we possibly can. For now, on board the boats, there'll be a sense of relief. They are on their way. So many unknowns ahead, so many questions to be asked and answered. For the next 3 weeks of this first leg of the Volvo Ocean Race, there's these boys here, theirs will be a life inside the lifelines. We wish them well. The Volvo Ocean Race is underway, and we're looking now at the bow of Puma Ocean Racing, powered by Berg, powering out of Alicante and on their way out for what is going to be a bit of a beating. With me still here in the commentary box is Peter Lester, out on the water, Jerry Kirby. And Jerry, we're looking at the boat with your book.
How difficult is that, and what is the purpose of stacking the boat?
Stacking the boat is equivalent to horsepower in motor car racing. The more stability you get on that weather rail, the more horsepower and riding moment you give to the boat. So every piece, every pound and every kilo that gets on that weather rail makes the boat go faster.
You know, that's interesting, Jerry. I was having a look at the boats yesterday, and with one of the shore crew guys on camper, and he was saying that, you know, when they try and stack the sails, and well, here they are, they're going about it now. They're going to start stacking these sails, and the way that they do it certainly on camper, and there they are, they've got it behind they've sort of put a pole alongside, then they'll ratchet them down, and he said, you know, the call will come shifted another, 50 millimeters, and that'll make a difference.
Yeah, absolutely. The fore and aft trim is just as important as having it outboard, and you can actually, as the velocity changes, you'll go through a whole nother stacking where you move food below and sails on deck. You move them fore and aft to keep the speed up all the time. This life at the extreme, it's
life at the extreme.
These guys, I think I'm missing not being with them right now, but this is the hard part of the Volvo, and this is, mind you, this is in broad daylight and flat water.
Yeah, well, broad daylight and flat water, and they're still smoking and getting soaked already. Wait till they get the beating that we know they're in for, with something like 170 miles that they've got to do to get out towards Gibraltar, and it's going to be on the nose, and we're told it's going to be pumping up around 35 knots, 35 knots, and that is going to be a beating. Okay, so... Yeah. This is Abu Dhabi we're looking at now, and that's the parade of boats. But hopefully we're going to have a chat with somebody on board Puma.
Yeah.
Okay.
Brad, what do you think about these conditions here? Yeah, we're just getting around the Inshore circuit, and just got around the top mark, heading off on the reach down south, and sort of gone from 12 knots to 22, 23. So the boys are working hard on getting the stack out of the inside of the boat on the back, and so I've got no grinders for the main, it's a bit disappointing. But yeah, we'll just try and get everything up on the high side, and then we can get settled down, get into it. Cool.
Okay, well that's Brad Jackson there. Brad Jackson, well, he's a real veteran of this. He's raced 5 round-the-world races. He's had 3 wins, 43-year-old, and as solid a sailing citizen as you could meet.
And what he was saying there, Martin, normally the main sheet actually is into the grinders, but he was top-handling the winch because the guys that normally grind for him were stacking the boat. So again, the functions on board and the compromises.
With being so short-handed.
It's quite funny to get that cynical response. He's a bit of a dry humorist.
Yeah, the top handle is just having that single handle on top of the main winch rather than those big copy grinders that with 4 people on that would power it up. So he had it all on, no wonder he was out of breath talking to us. Well, here's Sanya, and a bit of an unhappy start for them, obviously with the sail problem, unable to get one of their big sails down, had to go flying past the mark, and that's cost them a lot of distance as we see their Bert Shandavi in the bow there getting stuff sorted out. But there's a long way to go, and Jerry, I mean, this leg now, you talk to somebody like Rob Salthouse, who's done a heap of these things, and he was saying to me this morning that on this leg he lost the most weight of any of the legs, because there's heaps of sail changes and all points of sail, and you have everything in this leg.
Yeah, Rob's an old teammate, and I remember Salty complaining about how much weight he was losing on that first leg 3 years ago. When you go through the doldrums and you're fighting from cloud to cloud to get through it, it's a complete sweat box, and you're constantly changing sails, trying to get under a cloud, sails up, sails down, and it's a real calorie burner, and that's after you've sailed hard out of the med and then gotten into the trades. You hit the doldrums, and it's right in the middle of the leg, and you just use up everything you've got to get into the next section of the race.
Well, we're on board with Puma at the moment. It looks bad enough now, and we just know it's going to get worse. And I'm in for a kicking, Peter.
Well, it's wet.
Okay, now, can you hear us on board Sanya Mike Sanderson? Not ready yet. Okay, I think we're going to try and
Martin,
come back to him.
They're in a lot of wind at the moment. They're really smoking it, and we can see Abu Dhabi.
Okay, we're going to try and go back on board Sanya again.
Mark, you know, we'd made nice gains back into the guys, and I own that, you know. Cam called it right. I thought it was easy to drive. We got a big path, and then first film slip. Probably, to be honest, the first film had okay. Here we go. It's a long way to go. We didn't do any damage, and after a bit of it to our egos, and now we're off. 22 knots. Cape Town, here we come.
22 knots?
22
it's not
knots.
bad, is it? And look at that.
Look at them
boats
go.
just look fantastic.
Well, that is something. That is something. I mean, they were absolutely pumping there. And that was pretty interesting that, well, he sort of, you know, it was exactly as we called it.
Well, he put his hand up, basically.
Put his hand up.
Sounds like Cameron Dunn might have called an earlier takedown, and
yeah, and then they got hit by a puff.
They pushed it a little bit harder, and short-handed, it's pretty hard to turn the corner.
And Jerry, when you've got a big sail like that, and you get hit by a big gust, and you haven't got many people on board, you've got your hands full.
Yeah, you've got your hands full, and also the time to the mark shrinks down to nothing. Suddenly the boat jumps another 5 or 6 knots of boat speed, and the whole maneuver gets more difficult.
And it can be costly on distance. That's almost looking tranquil out there until you come down onto the water and realise that they're just absolutely howling along. And I mean, you know, one of the other things that happens on this leg is that this is the leg often where you get a record run set, for 24-hour record run. And if I've got my numbers right, I think Ericsson 4 still has the record from the last edition, 596. So that tantalising 600 nautical mile record still up for grabs. And Jerry, looking at, we know these boats are faster than the other ones, so that it's only a matter of time before that record goes.
I think this race will see a new record. It's looking at these top 4 or 5 boats leaving. These are pretty incredible machines. They seem to sail more bow up, and they really like this off-wind sailing. So it'll be exciting to see what happens when they get in their first big system.
Well, the system's the secret, isn't it? Because my understanding is, and I'll stand to be corrected, but my understanding is that the reason that there tends to be a record breaker is that the fronts that have the wind in come through, and you can actually ride them because they're coming through at the sort of speeds that these boats can do. In the old days, they'd go over straight through because these boats would maybe be doing 12 or 15. These can do 30, 40 knots, so they can stay with the front. Is that like the art form to get in the hook into a front and ride it?
Yeah, absolutely. The boat speed they have now, they can stay with the system. And the only thing that may limit that record would be the wave state. If you get a good front with waves that are long period swells and have a nice angle, they'll blow that record right out of the water.
Now, Jerry, just since coming around the mark to send them off down towards Gibraltar, you'll obviously be watching the boats on the water. Are you getting any feeling for who's got the pace in this 2-sail route?
This is so early days. They all look good. Abu Dhabi's closing up. Camper looks great. Puma seems to have gained, but it's still, we're in a flat bay, and we're still getting pressure in and pressure. There are puffs coming down. I think it's, you know, somewhere around New Zealand we'll have an idea who's got that.
It's a wee ways away.
It is a wee ways away.
Gee, Abu Dhabi looks superb. We've had a few shots there of Abu Dhabi and that big full bow, and it just sits up, and as Jerry pointed out, the boats pop up. They look like they go stern down. They do actually pump water into the back of the boat. They've got tanks, holding tanks to put the boat in a stern down configuration when they're power reaching or power running. We can see behind Ian Walker, who's helming the boat, the stack of sails on that windward side to give the boat more stability, give it more righting moment, which equates to power.
Okay, now Jerry, this is we've done the inshore. We've done like a sort of second inshore race. We've gone round the cans. We're getting out there now. They've stacked the sails. What now?
Well, this is when everyone has their mental check. Right now, this just looks like 6 fire engines leaving the fire station. And you know, when you leave the station, you're headed into a fire. So all these guys understand that 6 hours from now, they're going to be on the nose, 35 plus knots, beating their brains out. And Puma talked about it at this morning's debrief. They don't plan on even starting a watch system until 24 hours is up. They're going to have everyone in their gear and dealing with that first transition point in Capo de Gado.
Okay, now what do you do to prepare, if you like, for you know you're going to have to come on the wind, you know it's going to get horrible and lumpy. What do you try and do? Get them to get some food down, or how does that work?
Right now, they'll be hydrating. Everyone will be trying to get some drinks around, keep guys from getting dehydrated. You know, that inshore sprint is a big physical effort, and now they'll settle in, and they'll start to get guys below, maybe get a little rest, but nobody will be getting out of their gear. As they go through the next turn, there'll be some possible sail changes, and then, you know, when they get to Capo de Gado, say 6 hours from now, and go on the wind, there'll be a decision whether they tack in or stay out, and that's when they start tacking, and with every tack, you've got to stack everything you own.